GMGM.
Good morning. Good morning,
Happy NFT
everyone.
day.
Happy NFT day. Ray, how are you?
I'm good. Hanging in there. A little light on the news today. A bunch of quick hitters, but definitely some stuff we can sink our teeth into.
Absolutely. We always have things to cover. There's always things to dive into. Always things to talk about. But yeah, guys, welcome to the WGMI Morning Show. Here we bring you everything you need to know about the NFT market in 30 minutes or less. We'll cover the winners, we'll cover the losers, and we'll bring you some data and analytics directly from WGMI's features. If you like what you're seeing, please comment below or DM us the word newsfeed for a chance to win a 7-day trial to use all of our tools risk-free. Obviously, we'd appreciate any retweets. Get us out there so we can get some more people watching us. We can grow this show. We can share some of the daily alpha that we always do. This is episode 5. I'm Chili Army 123 or Clemente, and with me is my co-host Ray or Arsiv. Ray, personally, I'd like to go straight into the some of the market activity that we've been seeing. But do you have anything else you wanted to cover before we jump in?
No, not too much going on. I know today's NFT day, the 5-year anniversary of the ERC 721 proposal. So that's fun. That's cool. We'll see if that drives any market movers or brings anybody into the space. Seeing some people talk about that, a little doubtful, but who knows?
Always want hope of something that'll pump. I was looking at it and I was like, man, who knows? Maybe someone's sitting around waiting for NFT day to drop something or to drop some liquidity, and I don't know. It doesn't seem too likely, but who knows? We'll see. But diving into the NFT market, let me actually pull up real quick. I'm going to pull up my other window, sharing my, here we go. So going into the WGMI newsroom account, every morning we post a morning market report, just very short, getting you, sharing you some of the 24-hour volume leaders, yesterday's OpenSea volume. If you want to follow that, it's WGMI newsroom. As you can see, yesterday's OpenSea volume was 11.8 million. The top movers over the 24 hours are Heads by Matt Fury. We're going to dive into that one a little bit later, with doing 540. This is only an 881 piece collection. So when it does this kind of movement and it is the number one mover of the market, either it tells you A, the market's liquidity has dried up, or B, maybe this is something to take a look at. It is sitting at, I think last time I checked, it was a 3.2 ETH floor. And then Bored Apes at 400 ETH. Ethereum is sitting at 1348. It's been chopping a little bit. Hopefully we see it stabilize a little bit more. If not, see a little bit of a rally. That way the NFT market can start showing some signs of life. As we typically see, it dies down a little bit more when ETH is extremely volatile. So moving on to the WGMI dashboard, now we can look at more specifically some of the numbers behind this. But look, as far as Matt Fury goes, it's sitting at a 3.2 ETH floor. This is by the original Pepe collector. Ray, do you have any sort of insight you can give us on this? I'm not too familiar with the original Pepe or the history of it, but maybe you can share some alpha here.
Yeah, so this is a piece by the creator of the original Pepe meme. Like if you Google, Pepe the Frog meme, you'll find, this artist listed, as the creator in 2005. Matt Fury having created this. So definitely somebody who's culturally relevant in the meme culture. This is something that you do see draw some attention in NFTs. We're very meme central on some of these projects. So definitely something to watch. It seems like we've dropped a bit since the kind of local top, a little bit over 3. Actually, it might just be OpenSea. It's me not used to OpenSea's new UI. So we are seeing a 3.2 ETH floor here. I have noticed, and I don't know if anyone else has checked out OpenSea lately, they've adjusted their UI on these collection pages a bit, give a little bit more information. The one thing I don't like, while we do have unique owners, I still like to see, total owners. So definitely a stat you can calculate, but one that was nice to see listed there. But we definitely get some more information, including the creator fee. It's nice not having to use a browser add-on or to dig into those collections to actually see that creator fee. But the art on these is
Yeah.
cool. I mean, it's very, I think it's pretty unique. It's front facing. You do see some, Pepe-ish features here. I don't know what your thoughts are on this art itself, Clemente.
I mean, I like the it looks pretty cool. I was watching. I don't know if you can go to Matt Fury's Twitter, Ray, but I was on there this morning and I was looking at this little video that he posted of of Pepe looking at a full moon, and it was in April 14th, and I think this is the collection he was referring to. I wasn't on the head's Twitter. I was on the Matt Fury one. But I think it's pretty cool. To me, it appeals. I mean, it's definitely cool to see something where, I mean, it definitely seems like people are buying this for the cultural significance and for more of the art. But when you look at, hey, Clemente, would you spend 3 ETH on this? Hell no, to put it lightly. Especially when you look at some of the other options and things that you can buy in the current market conditions, when you can put that 3 ETH in so many different projects, resources, and get, I think, a high return. But who knows? Look, my thought process is, hey, maybe in 2-3 months we'll have a well, in 2-3 months maybe this will be at a 5 ETH floor, a 10 ETH floor. Who knows? But I'm not someone that right now would be willing to take that risk.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in the reveal. A lot of these are very unique. They definitely have the same style. They are front facing. I wonder how many of these we're going to see pop up on Twitter. It seems like they have quite a few of these little like worms that are different colors. But I could see people adopting some of these, and it definitely is something to say. Like, this is probably going to be his PFP project. The originator of Pepe the Frog, his first PFP project, 1,000 count edition. I could see there being some historical value here. This could be something that if you can get in at a reasonable entry at some point, it could be a good one to hold for the long term. I don't see much relation myself personally to some of these, but I'm imagining we're definitely going to see Twitter pop up with a bunch of these once these finally do reveal.
I personally, it's cool to see something different, like always, something that's pushing the art in a different way. So we'll look to see it play out. But Ray, going back to the market dashboard and kind of seeing how this plays out here, I think the biggest thing that I was surprised by is Ranga is sitting at a 1 ETH floor. So it's continuing this little slow bleed that we've seen it have since Friday when it hit a high of 1.85 ETH. It's now sitting at 1 ETH. Personally, 1-day sales are still relatively okay. The number that I don't like, and I might be still fading it a little bit. If I could think you could get in below 0.9 or 0.8, this is just a little bit too high for me. When you look at and it going up day in and day out, that's kind of a recipe for continuing bleeding and continued bleed. So personally, Ray, I think I'm going to be staying away from Ranga for a little bit longer, but I think obviously the big money and the whales dictate this price, not these small kind of market actions, but it's just these indicators that personally to me give it a little bit more of a red flag. It's kind of like the opposite of what I look for, which is decreased listings and a decreased floor price. This is kind of you see lowering floor price and increase in listings. So for me, I'm going to stay away. Two other projects that I want to touch on later today with you, Ray, later on in the show, if we have some time, is look at the graphs between potatoes, break that down, because I like how it's still like the listings are just so low and they're still having a good amount of volume day in and day out. And the goblins are an interesting look here at under 1 ETH, because listings are still pretty low. They have relatively strong volume, and I always see them popping up on my feed. Their community is relatively strong, and they manage to stay relevant. That's what I was looking at today. Did you have anything you want to touch on there? Do any of these three appeal to you as far as Ranga, Goblin Town, or Potatoes?
I need to look a bit deeper into potatoes. Renga, it's crazy how, when you look at it, when the floor price is pumping, you're like, oh, this art's amazing. Look at this. This is the next big PFP.
Yeah.
And then as that floor price drops down a bit, you're like, I don't know about this. Is this really all it's cracked up to be? But I mean, it comes down to, what is the vision for Renga going forward? I think there's a lot of speculation with their connection to WeNew and them being connected to 10KTF in some way. I don't know if that's really substantial. We saw a lot of FOMOing, and we kind of see this going on in the market right now where, the money is just rotating from project to project. We see a new project pump, go 10x, 20x, and then after 24 hours, it's now lost and bled about half of its, floor price back into the market. So some speculators definitely getting killed on these run-ups. Some people making out well if they're able to get in early. It's really just a matter of having that instinct and being able to pick the right projects that are pumping. And it's hard to, really predict these things. It really is dependent on, a number of different factors that just aren't very easy to predict in real time. I find the best way for me personally is try to track wallets that have been profitable, but even their hit rates aren't, 100%. You're still looking at like, 50, 60% hit rates on some of these wallets that are, whaling into these different projects, just trying to find one that's going to stick.
So is your strategy, your play right now, more of looking at some of these, I'm curious what your thought process is, because, and kind of your strategy, because I've seen you, and I would describe you as a little bit more of a, like you get in while the iron is hot. You get in when things are cooking in there, which makes for more volatility. But also, I think you get action when there's volatility. Whereas I look at more for like, hey, let me look at projects that are already more established, that have been out for a little bit longer, that have good fundamentals, that are still doing things, to where I wouldn't mind my money sitting there for a week or 2 weeks or a month. So maybe if you could break down like what your general workflow is to get in on some of these earlier projects while there is still liquidity there.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, there are some like tried and true methods, like flipping art blocks is one that seems to be mostly profitable if you can get in and find the right volume, get out at the right time. In terms of, these other smaller projects that we talk about in the Discord, it's a lot of it's just, deal flow and information. If you're in a network where you can interact with a number of different people across different Discords, I'm managing the news feed. I'm talking to all of our analysts and curators. We get a lot of that information potentially before most of the public knows it. So, this information is breaking in one place, and as an NFT trader, if you're spending a lot of time in this space, you have a good network and you're looking at all these other sources, you can kind of see these different people talking about it and get a feel for, hey, this guy's talking about it. He's been successful. I'm seeing this across 4 different Discords that have all been, pretty respected for me. So looking at that information kind of helps guide decisions. And then, a lot of those times I'm sharing that right into the premium alpha in our Discord. And we've had some nice wins there in the last few weeks, I'd say. Which has been nice to see. But, those were definitely much more frequent earlier in the year and late last year. So it's definitely slim pickings. And a lot of it has to do with kind of that information flow and just being on top of that ahead of the curve. And we're trying to bring some of that with the newsfeed tool. We have a section when you show all news, you can see upcoming drops. And we're trying to get into and find these upcoming drops, identify them early so that you can follow these Twitter accounts, get that information. If there's an allow list opportunity, jump in, figure out how to get that allow list for this potentially, big project down the road. There's a lot of profit to be had, minting and then selling right now. There's a lot of risk that comes with buying secondary and flipping.
Right. Yeah, and I seem to be taking on some of that risk, but I try to do my best to minimize it. Ray, what this might be a great segue for is you to now get over into the 24-hour news and get on the news feed, maybe share what's been going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I can start running down the news. Like I said, a little lighter day. We have a good quantity of updates, but not as many are very deep. We can go deep into a couple of these, but a couple of them I'll just kind of run through and give you the TLDR. One thing that caught our eye yesterday is the Kazar project being teased by Quantum. So Quantum Key is the Justin Aversano um, project. There's a lot or an IRL lounge in LA that it provides you access to. It provides you access to different minting opportunities. More on that in a bit, but they teased out this Kazar project, which is sort of a composable NFT. It looks like it's an unlimited supply. You can like merge and adjust these NFTs, something that potentially is interesting, potentially available early or cheaper to quantum key holders. The details aren't sure yet. They have these kind of little blobs. I wonder if these are the actual KSRs. And it talks about mixed reality, blending of virtual and real world. So I don't know if it's going to have some effects, AR, VR, and tie that in a bit to IRL. Maybe have some kind of activation at the quantum locations. But something that caught our eye pretty early here, looking at their Twitter. I believe they were under 1,000 followers when we published this. Now up 2401. Seeing a decent amount of similar followers. I always look at this metric too, making sure that this count is proportional to the number of followers. It helps to notice that
Right.
is a project that's really just botted for followers, because if it's a major project in the NFT space, if you're following a good amount of NFT collectors and NFT investors that you trust, and they're also following this project, it gives it a bit more credibility, validity. It shows that there are more eyeballs in the space on these type of projects. But what I'm looking at, it looks like there is a pre-mint out now. I think we have that linked on our news feed as well. So make sure we register for this patch. Moving on a bit, we have Pudgy Penguins. They announced that they were doing an IRL toy collection with PMI Toys. This is a toy company. I don't know too many of the details outside of they're going to be based on the little Pudgies. It looks like they have some smaller kids toys, different collectibles. So it should be interesting. And I believe they're licensing directly from the community. So different little Pudgies from the community can be licensed and created with the toys, probably in some kind of deal that will provide value back to the holders, which is nice to see that value flowing back. I think we could talk a bit about that, coming up to see where does the value come back to the holders.
What did you think? Sorry, if you don't mind going back to that website. I looked at it last night when this news came out on the news feed. What do you think of this website? I was surprised. I was like, man, how is this like a company from 1985? What's going on with this website? It looks I couldn't like use it right. I just looked old. And like pressing an order was super hard. I've never heard of PMI Toys. I think this is also for the Pudgy Penguins community, but I'm just curious what's going on here, just from a first look.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think that a toy collection is better than no toy collection. It could be that this was the best deal they found. I don't know much about them in general. It seems like they do have some decent licensing. If they have Space Jam, Turtles, so they do have some of the bigger licensing deals out there. Haven't dug around too much. Haven't tried to place any kind of order, but interesting to look at least, and something to keep an eye on. But I think I agree. It does look a bit dated in terms of the technology, but I think maybe they're just focusing on the actual building and letting the kind of website speak for itself. Any more on the toys, you think, or you think we're good to move?
Good move. I just had to make that observation. I couldn't let it slide without calling out the website.
Yeah, definitely see that. Also, if you're looking, we've updated our graphics a bit, make it a little bit easier to identify the project that we are providing news for, as well as attributing some of our analysts and curators here. So you'll see, who prepared the article for you. It's a curator, an analyst, maybe the internal WGMI team. You'll see all that information on each news update, which is a nice addition, and giving our contributors and curators and analysts a bit of exposure as well for their hard work with us. Moving on,
There
though.
you have it. We're PMI Toys. doesn't update their website in 20 years, but WGMI every single day we're pushing updates.
Absolutely. We got Tom working hard back there. We have him in a back room slaving away, making sure all this gets updated, pushing out the feature requests on a daily basis. He's been slammed lately, and he's been really doing a great job. Some cool filtering on the tables too, I know is live today. Moving on though with the news. So there's a bunch of ApeCoin movement over the last 24 hours. I think it's ran up to 6. It's dipped a bit. I think we're in the upper 5s right now. But we did a small breakdown kind of on a Twitter thread that was speculating on price movement of Ape with staking coming up. And there is a Twitter space upcoming for ApeCoin. I believe it's tonight. The time hasn't been confirmed as of this posting. But I think the general thesis on this is that, there's going to be 100 million Ape dispersed through staking in year 1. Based on those numbers, they're saying, like there could be a 60% APY on staking if all Ape is staked. So there could be, good returns there. You also have to balance that versus what actually happens as more Ape gets released to the market, as these stakers are getting rewarded. Are they just dumping that extra Ape and holding on? So you need to see that price kind of adjust with the supply increasing. So that'll be interesting to see. I think we're going to see more buying. I think we're going to see higher price levels for Ape over the next 7 days as more details come out, as this becomes more widely pushed, as some apes who have been away from the market are getting this information. They're coming back in. They say, oh, I need to buy more Ape to maximize my staking. I think we have a list of a couple max amounts of Ape to stake in these pools. So I could see if apes are looking at these strong APY numbers and they say, yeah, I can get some potential free money. I need to buy some more Ape to maximize my yield. So we could see that price run up a bit ahead of that, but I don't know if staking will or won't be the correct play once that hits. It may be, just buying now, selling into the pump, and kind of just watching from the sideline. Something I'll be looking at for sure. I need to dive a bit deeper into the mechanics, maybe listen a bit to that Spaces today, being ready to jump in from the sideline if I hear something that piques my interest. We also have OpenSea announcing that they are minting now live from their website. They're offering these mints directly from OpenSea, which is interesting. It provides a bit of ease of use and less friction for creators to mint NFTs, as well as giving users more trust in what they're actually minting. I'm going to bring up the mint page here for the actual mint. If you're not familiar with the OMG Kirby project, it's basically generated music. They have a big following. They get a lot of listens across different streaming services. I believe the Genesis floor sits around 0.11, 0.12. A project that released a few months ago, but this is an example of the mint page for OpenSea. It has some instructions to mint down here, has a little overview about the collection, a direct mint button from OpenSea, has different timelines and prices, which is nice to see for the mint schedule, and some more images, information about the collection. Should be interesting. We'll see more of these, I imagine, and I imagine having I don't know if they're going to be doing curation here for what you can post and have minted by OpenSea, or if it's going to be more of anyone can join. So it'd be interesting to see that. If it is a curated drop system, these could be ones to watch out for. Seeing something, minting on OpenSea could potentially drive a little bit more volume, more eyeballs to it.
Right. I mean, I would imagine it would support artists in a way where they're incentivized to list on OpenSea or to mint on OpenSea, because OpenSea can give them more eyes, bring more potential minters to their page. I'm curious what the cut is like for OpenSea, but it would be interesting to see if that's more profitable for people wanting to mint their project on OpenSea, because it would then bring more customers, more people to their project.
Yeah, I mean, also, even if they don't take a cut, you've got to figure that if you're minting on OpenSea, you're not minting on the other side, you're already in OpenSea. You can go right to your collection and list your assets if you're trying to flip. So it may incentivize people to just list right on the OpenSea as opposed to maybe listing on competitors.
That's interesting. So I mean, it might just be a reactive take or a reactive move by OpenSea, and they're just saying, hey, we just want as many people using our website possible. Let's not prioritize profits for now, but let's just prioritize people using OpenSea related things. And this is one of them.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to do some competing with other marketplaces, especially ones that are offering lower fees and ignoring creator royalties. It's definitely driving volume other places. So any way they can bring that market volume back to OpenSea is going to be a win for them. Moving on, this is the drop I was talking about, one of those drops for Quantum Key, Ethiopia Portraits, that's coming out the 22nd, which is Thursday. It's a 75-piece Dutch auction starting at 1 ETH. I think it drops down to 0.15 eventually. Interesting to see, something we'll keep on top of as that mint day approaches. Circling back to Goblin Town, Process Gray is hosting some goblin drawing lessons I think they're open to the public, to be honest. So if you're an artist, it could be cool to check them out. You can RSVP via these links from our newsfeed as well. Cool to see some of that utility. See it. A well-renowned artist showing off her skills, teaching others to draw, be artists. This one was pretty cool. I'm not very familiar with Royal Society of Players, but it looks like they've opened a marketplace for their native token. They have a cool little web app, Speakeasy, where you can go in and you can buy some different NFTs and different, I believe, like not only RSOP, but also, I'm not going to sign in for now, but also like, I think there's an OCM Genesis in there that was probably valued around an ETH at least. There is another Zed horse that was being auctioned off. So definitely check that out if you're into RSOP and you do have some of that Royal token to spend. Something to be aware of that's now usable and does have utility. Moving away from the Ethereum market, the PGA Tour is partnering with Autograph. Autograph, they have NFTs released on DraftKings mainly, and Tom Brady is part of the founding team. You can see, some major athletes here are involved as well. This is pretty cool. Tiger Woods is working with other PGA golfers to get them involved in the NFT market, to have some of that revenue flowing back to the golfers in sort of a way that has the golfers almost promoting the NFTs on their own. So there's a link here to more details. Definitely worth diving into if you're interested in sports NFTs. Things like this can start bringing the masses in. I'm definitely looking at sports, this year as an entry point, a catalyst to bring in more users into the NFT market. So something good to watch out for. Interesting article there to read and see the details of that partnership and how it's going to benefit not only holders but also the PGA golfers. Forgotten Runes released digital comics. They are free mint for anybody. There's 5 different covers. It was very cheap gas. I think it cost me 50 cents. I've minted one of each for 50 cents a piece. Figure they would be worth having. Definitely check that out. They also have a physical copy available for order for free, just shipping. So that's something that would interest you. Issue 0 of anything could potentially have value, especially if this collection continues to be a mainstay in the NFT space. So definitely interesting if you're a comic fan, a Forgotten Runes holder, or just somebody to look to collect something like that. Definitely a good opportunity there. Our Cool Cats curator posted on a Habbo NFT partnership for the Cool Cats. Habbo has been around for a long time. I actually just jumped in for the first time this morning after I saw this article to see what Habbo is about. It looks like it's basically a collection of rooms in a hotel. I'm sure somebody in the audience is yelling at me that I don't grasp it fully, but it's like almost like a mini 2D metaverse, and it looks like Cool Cats is going to be offering some in-game items, clothing, backpacks, furniture. So if you're somebody who is involved with Habbo, plays Habbo, owns a Cool Cats, you can claim some of that exclusive in-game merch. Cool little utility there from the cats. The crypto dip butts have been immortalized on chain now. There's a contract linked here that shows that all the artwork for the crypto dip butts is now officially on chain. So that will be accessible as long as the Ethereum chain is around and being validated. So definitely cool to see there. They're trying to make their push for provenance and fine art in the model of CryptoPunks, which is funny to see, and it's crazy to see their floor price still holding. I played this game today. This is fun. Chimpers has a game, Chimp Run. It's available to the public. Anyone who scores 50 points is entered into a raffle. Could win Chimpers, an ebook, Ethereum, XP. Getting 50 points is trivial. It really doesn't take much time to do this. So if you're somebody who has a free couple minutes, jumping in and doing this will only take maybe 3 minutes to finish something that could be worthwhile for sure. Swoops is minting this Friday. Yeah, Friday. It's like a fantasy basketball with ownership involved. It reminds me a bit of the DraftKings Rainmakers. I don't know as much as I should on this. It's definitely something I'm going to be checking out, especially since we just partnered with them. I know VSP is giving 100 allow list spots here. There's a link to the raffle. Get right there from VSP. Enter in to that. WGMI also has 100 allow list spots. So if you're listening and you're one of the people who minted one of our all access beta pass, your address has already been added to that allow list for Friday. We'll make an announcement later today as well. But anyone who had minted a WGMI beta all access pass prior to last night when I took a snapshot has access to this Swoops project and will be on that allow list for the mint on Friday. We have some information coming from the Knights of Degen. I've been following this Discord a bit more now that it's football season, trying to get some of my football knowledge back. They have every Saturday morning at 11:45, they have a college football betting expert come in, give some picks, talk shop a bit. So if you're interested in sports gambling, definitely check that out. They also have a code for a discount for the SoBet platform. You can access that via that referral code if you hold a Knight of Degen. And Zen Academy continues to come through with raffles. I got links to 2 more Zen Academy raffles here. Lost Realms and Ukraine's. Talked a bit about these before. I think there's actually 2 more that I just haven't refreshed my newsfeed that have shown up as well. So be sure to check out the newsfeed or the Zen Academy Discord. Make sure you're entering in all these raffles. They've been coming in at a pretty fast pace at this point. Always good to maximize your opportunities. Make sure you're getting into as many of these raffles as possible. And this is one of the benefits I've already been seeing with this newsfeed. A lot of my projects, I wasn't keeping on top of as much as I should be. Now we have these curators, these analysts scouring, all these different projects. They know what's valuable. They know what's worth entering into. They're providing these onto the newsfeed. We're making sure that I'm making sure that I'm entering into all these raffles. If I see one, I'll leave it unread until I can enter into it. It's a constant reminder with my little red badges there that, hey, I need to do something. I need to take some action. And, that's part of, the value of the newsfeed. The more of these actions you're taking, it's almost like an insurance that you're going to eventually, hit, or you're providing the most value from your holdings. So,
right.
It's almost as if, holding this NFT, having this access is going to pay for itself over time as you can enter in and hit at a higher rate of all these raffles, giveaways, making sure you're on top of these airdrops. And speaking of minting, we are still minting right now. Minting is open for the all access beta pass right now. It provides access to all WGMI tooling through the end of the year. It gives you access to portfolio, it gets you access to newsfeed, custom charts, all the project explorer pages, all that data information, not only qualitative, but quantitative. So you have news and data all in one place that you can, wake up in the morning, take a look at your portfolio, take a look at the actions you need to take, make your actions and move on. Save yourself time. Make sure you're maximizing the value you hold in your portfolio.
Absolutely. Ray, we are at the 35-minute mark. So we went into this show saying we wouldn't have a lot of stuff to cover, and we ended up going 5 minutes over.
You called it.
Do you have anything else you want to finish up on?
No, I think that's pretty good. I mean, I'm looking today. I'm going to be watching heads, diving a bit deeper there, looking at ApeCoin. Outside of that, not too much. Maybe a lighter day. I don't have a ton on my radar. upcoming today. Maybe dive into to see what I can find for upcoming projects, see what would be, minting on the horizon, see what opportunities are out there.
And then we have Cool Cats Town Hall tomorrow morning, so definitely going to keep an eye out for that, especially when we get getting Red Sox guy and K-Duck to break it down for us afterwards is going to be good. One thing I wanted to share was I bought these crypto smedgies. I have to update you guys on my project of the day. I'm looking at it. Here's what I like about it. So over the last week or so, you saw listings on the 9th, for example. They're at 1750. Now we're down all the way to 1329. It's still high, which is why I was like, that's my one piece where I'm like, hey, maybe this isn't something that I'd like ideally. But then you look at floor price, it's going down from 0.11 to 0.07. It seems to be settling down a little bit. I was looking at it yesterday, but the sales were still high. So we see over 100 sales a day, which gives me the hope that, hey, at what point is this going to settle down? And there has to be some sort of relief rally here. I'm looking at it. I'm at 0.07. I'm looking to get at around 0.13, 0.14. Hopefully some money enters the ecosystem. But look, guys, this is, to be honest, I had no idea what I was doing here when I bought this strictly for the numbers. I jumped on the Twitter space yesterday. They had like a Twitter space recorded from earlier last week, and it was all in Chinese. I had no idea what was being talked about. I have no idea what the roadmap is, what they're trying to do. So I've just bought it strictly for the numbers. We'll see how it turns out. Other things to be watching for today are Potatoes and Goblin Town. Potatoes is looking really, really interesting to me. Only 96 out of 10,000 listed, and they had 43 sales yesterday, around there. It was in the 30 to 40 range, which is great to see. So keep an eye on that. I expect Potatoes to move in the next week or so. So we'll definitely watch to see that play out.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting to see those listing numbers, and definitely something to take a look at. I had that Project Explorer pulled up from when you mentioned that earlier, but looking over the last few weeks, they have been trending down in terms of floor price, but also listings as well. I know they had a pretty big giveaway yesterday for people who were staked. It was like free McDonald's for life and some other valuable NFTs that were offered. But we do look at the best offer and the spread between the best offer and the floor. That's been small, 0.06. It's dropping down. Listings are dropping down. I think in terms of numbers, this looks like something that could potentially provide value. But I would need to look more into the staking mechanics. When is this going to be unlocked? When is all of this supply going to be introduced to the market? And if they were smart, it would be never. But we'll see kind of how they work that staking system over there.
Yeah, I look at these, and we can talk about this tomorrow, but these kind of indicators and these looking at it from a number point of view is kind of like an introduction piece. Like, okay, now that this comes up, now I look into what you just talked about. How do I make sure this is actually going to be a play that could pan out in the best way possible? So we'll keep an eye on that over time. But Ray, we are over time. Hell of a show, man. Good stuff to cover there. We will make sure to keep you guys updated on all of this stuff for tomorrow as we dive into it and get more news from the news feed. Don't forget to DM us the word news feed for a chance to win a 7-day free trial to the WGMI tools. The people that have DM'd us so far and we've given them access have absolutely loved it. It's been great to get there. What they like about it, but also what they'd like to be added as far as curated news feed, what tools they like, what tools they don't use at all, and where do we pour our energy into? What do we tell Tom to do? No, we don't. But yeah, I mean, Ray, this was a great show once again. I'll let you finish it off, and if you wanted to add anything before we end it.
Nope, nothing to add. We covered a lot yesterday. I thought today would be a bit lighter, but like you predicted, ran a bit over. Just want to say, happy NFT day, and we're going to make it. WGMI.